Things are heating up fast in the lightweight division. Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Lamont Roach. It's all coming to a head. Welcome back to Boxonic, where boxing drama meets deep breakdowns.
And there's a guy that just had to draw his last fight, right? So then, what are we talking about? It ain't really nothing to even talk about. It is what it is. I ain't tripping. You know, it's funny to me. It's all jokes.
But, you know, Tank is a different animal too. So, great fight. That's why everybody want to see. We can't just look at it and say, oh, he gonna win, oh, he gonna win.
A lot of people go in there and they very obedient to Tank's power. And Lamont wasn't that that night. Lamont wasn't having it. And he said he wasn't having it. He said it before. Y'all tripping. Y'all must be really like tripping. So.
Shakur Stevenson isn't holding back. He believes Gervonta Davis could be walking into serious danger in this rematch against Lamont Roach. He remembers how Roach already pushed Tank to his limits in their first fight. Now, Stevenson warns that if Davis shows up anything less than 100%, things could go downhill fast. He respects Roach's craft, calling him a tough, smart fighter, which is exactly why this rematch could be one of the biggest threats to Tank's career yet.
I think August
they announced
16th,
it today?
So what do you think, you know, considering you were one of the handful of people to pick Lamont Roach, giving him a tough fight? What do you see the rematch?
I think it's dangerous for him to go back in there and fight Lamont. I think Lamont is a hell of a fighter. I can see that going left. So he better be on his A game.
Did you think Lamont won the first fight? 154 and fight on.
I asked two questions at the same time. I didn't get shit y'all just asked.
You really want to move up to 154 after this fight or fight?
New training footage of Gervonta Davis just broke the internet. It's wild. Tank looks shredded, more explosive, and laser-focused, tearing through drills with ruthless energy. The physical change is massive, but it's his body language that's setting off alarms, along with a cryptic tweet. Somebody is in trouble. Fans everywhere are buzzing, convinced this is Davis sending a direct shot at Lamont Roach, or anyone else bold enough to stand in his way. Boxing icon Roy Jones Jr. just weighed in on what makes Gervonta Davis different. His take is powerful. While he admits boxing always carries surprises, Roy made it clear Davis brings a whole other level of danger. He's not just a puncher, he's a complete predator with timing, speed, and the instinct to shift the entire fight in a single moment. That's what makes Davis scary. Roy says when the lights are bright and the pressure's on, Tank's raw talent and fury could explode.
Roach, what are we expecting from this fight?
Well, we're expecting Gervonta to just continue to show us his dominance and show us who he really is. It's really a coming out part of the Roach, but we kind of ever seen him a lot. So he gets to show people what he has too. And usually when you get two guys who are boxers amateurs, it's going to equate to a good fight for the first few rounds. But when they're in the pro round takeover, we'll find out, has Roach adjusted to being a pro yet? Or is Tank too superior now as a pro? And that's where the difference could come in.
Roach is coming up on weight. That, you know, a lot of people keep on saying that's a very big disadvantage for Roach. His power might not transfer to, you know, to this weight class. What do you got to say about that to the critics?
Well, I ain't really got nothing to say to the critics, because most of the time they don't know the hell they talking about no weight, but I was able to carry my weight from 154 to heavyweight. If you know how to do it right, then your weight, your punch will come with you. If you don't know how to do it right, then yeah, you're going to lose your punch. So if he's a good, fundamentally sound fighter with a punch, he's going to have a punch at 130, he's going to have a punch at 140. If he's not really fundamentally that sound, then he won't. That's why Tank was able to jump around. Tank fought between 130 and 140, whatever weight he wanted to. Why? Because he's a great fundamental puncher. So his punch can be the same no matter what weight he got on. If you are fundamentally sound, that don't matter. But if you're not fundamentally sound, then yeah, when you move up weight, you're going to lose.
Everything is on the line for Gervonta Davis. If he suffers another loss without an injury or clear excuse, it could shake his whole reputation. One defeat might be written off as a bad day, but two, that opens the door for serious questions. Is Tank still elite? Can he dominate like he used to? The critics will come hard. And with his pride, his loyal fan base, and his paydays all on the line, this fight isn't just a rematch, it's a career-defining moment.
Is the rematch happening or what? Because I'm ready to see a motherfucker get knocked out again. I'm not here to debate, because y'all really go neck and neck for this for the rest of the eternity on who y'all think really won, who y'all think should have won, who y'all think didn't win. This is probably one of the biggest debates that will never be solved. Well, they put up a good fight. I'm not going to lie, y'all, but damn near seemed like it was set up for them to have another match. Because exactly what Lamont did to Tank the whole first half, that's what Tank did to Lamont the whole second half. So what the fuck? It literally went neck for neck. I feel like it was a tie in my opinion. So hard to even say that though, because you just see so much demolishment from one and then for it to flip to the other and it just had your mind like, what? It's really how your mind blown. Like, what the fuck? I feel like when it came to the decision of the fight, a lot of people were real biased. A lot of people definitely went off of just a personal opinion of the person, a history of liking the person, not off of the fight itself. I will admit that really going into this fight, the first time, I thought Lamont was going to get his shit knocked off. I thought Tank was going to do him in. Now, although Tank did really show him something at the second half, I'm not going to lie, Lamont had him. He stuck with him the whole 12. If you know anything about boxing, especially boxing a motherfucker like Tank, you know that it's a flex the last 12 rounds just as much as it is to beat a motherfucker. The fact that Lamont lasted 12 rounds with him was really getting up, I'm not gonna lie, stinging shit, all 12. It showed that this next match gonna really show who the fucking winner was. I do gotta say, Tank probably gonna come ready for him, but the fact that Lamont came ready for him, as ready for him as he did last match, I ain't gonna lie, I'm scared for both of them. This should be bigger than the Super Bowl, I'm not gonna lie. They say it's supposed to be happening in the summer, which would be a really good way to kick off the summer. Now I know these two got a vengeance out for each other. Regardless of growing up together and fighting together, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. The way that fight went down, I'm not gonna lie, I really feel like this is gonna be history. Like, I can't wait to watch it.
Even Shakur Stevenson, the defensive wizard of modern boxing, admits it. Gervonta Davis would be his toughest fight ever. He's given Tank huge respect, calling his mix of speed, knockout power, and unpredictability a nightmare to prepare. 4. For Stevenson to say that shows just how dangerous Davis really is. If they ever square off, Shakur knows it won't just be a challenge. It'll be a war end one that could push him beyond any fight he's ever faced.
What would be your hardest matchup? Devin Haney, Tank, or would it be Ryan Garcia?
Nah, Ryan, just X him out. He's trash. It's gonna be Tank. I ain't said it before, but I'm gonna say it like me and him the big.
Shakur Stevenson has made one thing clear. He's ready for whoever wins. Whether it's Lamont Roach or Gervonta Davis, Stevenson wants the smoke, especially if it means stepping into the ring with Tank. He called the potential clash massive, not just for them, but for boxing itself. Fans, experts, and promoters would go wild. For Stevenson, this wouldn't just be a payday, it'd be a high-stakes chess match between elite fighters and a shot at defining his place in boxing history.
Me and Tank, it's the biggest fight in the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be the biggest boxing fight in the world when it happens. I could see it happening not too far in the future.
Really?
I can see it happening. I don't think, like, I think Tank will sign that contract.
Dang.
And I'm going to sign a contract too, so it's
Then
like,
you're gonna get it on.
While Gervonta Davis has acknowledged Shakur Stevenson's slick skills, his reaction to a potential fight felt ... underwhelming. He didn't dismiss the idea, but he also didn't seem excited. Tank hinted the matchup might not bring the fireworks fans crave, saying it'll happen when the time is right, but that lack of hype says a lot. It seems like Davis respects Shakur. Sure, but he's not convinced their styles would mix for the kind of jaw-dropping action his fights are known for.
Who have Shakur? What have Shakur done? What have he done in the sport? He haven't done nothing. The young one is looking more better than him.
Who that?
The Keyshawn looking way more better than this. I keep screaming his name. He haven't done nothing. Keyshawn haven't even done nothing.
So what do you say to those who might be
saying his name
afraid?
for?
So what do you say to those who might be saying that, Tank is afraid of Shakur?
Afraid of what? Afraid of what? Us fighters, if we're afraid of somebody, it gotta be somebody hitting us and hurting us. Like, he don't have no offense. Everything is defense. Defense only winning basketball and football. That shit in boxing.
Not everyone is buying into the Davis versus Roach rematch hype. Some fans and analysts are questioning the real motive behind it. The growing theory: Davis chose Roach not for the challenge, but because he's beatable, a safe bet. Meanwhile, Roach is taking heat too, with critics saying he's more interested in the payday than proving himself. That has sparked a heated debate about how today's big fights are made, and whether cash is outweighing competition in modern boxing.
Client, why would I allow you to fight these fights just for you to knock somebody out if it's not a numbers game?
Good question.
The money.
That's the only number that matters.
The money.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get into it. Speaking of money, lots of people have talked about, oh, he's doing this fight for money, and Tank is strategically picking him because in the amateur world, you guys fought twice, right? And you lost, both times in the amateur fight. So are you all friends? Are y'all cordial? First, what's the relationship?
We're cordial.
You're cordial.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
He cool to me.
He's cool to you.
Yeah.
And you haven't heard that he said anything differently?
Oh yeah, for sure.
He has?
No, he hasn't.
He has not.
That's what I'm saying. I'm confirming that. He hasn't said anything.
He has not said anything differently. So does it confirm people's suspicion that he purposefully picked you not only because you're cordial, but because he believes he's going to knock you out, get the purse, and then you walk away with a nice piece of change.
I mean, you're in the wrong game if you don't think you're gonna beat everybody. Like, anyway, but if you're saying specifically pick me because I'm gonna be an easy cakewalk,
yeah.
Everybody in the world knows that's not gonna happen. I mean, like, that's not gonna happen. Him personally, he know that. I think he chose me because I am gonna be one of the better opponents that he's faced in his entire career, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
British fighter Conor Benn recently called out what many are thinking what's really going on with Gervonta Davis. He's puzzled why Davis is still chasing opponents like Roach if he's serious about retirement. Ben's point is sharp. If Tank's thinking about walking away, is he still fully locked in? Or is he just coasting on name value until it's time to hang up the gloves? His comments are a wake-up call, challenging Davis to show whether he's still chasing greatness, just the final paychecks.
I know Lamont Roach, but, you know, when you're looking at Shakur Stevenson, when you're looking at, you know, these other fighters that he should really be fighting, you know, he don't want to do them fights. He wants to retire.
Yeah.
So don't come and, but don't come and come at me.
Yeah.
And go, oh yeah, let's give it all, you know, very big bollocks and go, oh yeah, let's give him some stick and then make out like we want the fight. And then we send an offer over and then you fight for 15 million and yet you fight Lamont Roach. Don't do that. Do you know what I mean?
It was a real offer. That was true then.
It was a real offer. We offered, I said, listen, you keep talking my promoter's going to get back to you in 48 hours.
Yeah.
50 minutes. Initial offer sent over. You know, but was it Uncle Al didn't let him out to play? His boss didn't let him out. That's it. So he wants to talk about, 50 million. First offer.
There was room to negotiate.
Of course there was. But he's an idiot. I don't even know if he knows what to go.
After their first fight, many felt Davis didn't look like himself. Something was off. Maybe it was personal distractions or a poor game plan, but fans were left with questions. Now the tone is completely different. Davis looks locked in drama, no noise, just pure focus. His recent footage shows a man on a mission. He's not just looking to beat Roach, he's aiming to erase every doubt and reclaim that unbeatable image. With everything on the line, Tank wants to dominate.
Breaking news, Tank Davis vs. Lamont Roach 2 is set for August 16th in Las Vegas. And this is a rematch of one of the most controversial fights in recent memory, where Roach arguably won 7 to 8 rounds of that fight, and then Tank took a voluntary knee in round 9, which wasn't ruled a knockdown, but ultimately, it was scored a majority draw. Now in the rematch, I do expect Tank to look much better than he did in the first fight. I don't think that was his best performance by any means. And that means being more active in the early rounds, you know, not just staying on the ropes looking for counters. And I'm sure he'll be willing to exchange more with Roach this time around. You know, the left hands, the combinations, the body shots, that's where he had the most success in the first fight. And Roach, he just needs to stick to what made him so successful in the first fight. His forward pressure, staying behind that jab and right hand. But most importantly, he wasn't scared to take it to Tank, but he also didn't get too aggressive. You know, most of Tank's opponents, if they're scared of the power, they'll sit back on the ropes, get slowly broken down, or if they end up getting too aggressive, they get caught with a counterpunch. But Roach, he was sharp that whole fight. You know, I would go Tank in the rematch. I think he has a lot more to show this time around. But Roach did prove to be a very tough test. But you guys let me know who you got.
While Lamont Roach is all over social media and interviews, Gervonta Davis has gone silent, and that silence is loud. Experts say it's no accident. Davis seems to be cutting out all distractions and throwing himself fully into training. This quiet grind shows serious discipline. No press stunts, no trash talk, just work. And that has fans buzzing because when a fighter like Tank goes this quiet, it usually means he's about to make a lot of noise in the ring when it counts.
Oh yeah, so we hearing that they got the fight set and scheduled and it's going to be in Vegas and it's going to be this August. So yeah, it's basically just been reported. And I'm not gonna lie, we knew it was gonna happen because they both said they down to do it. They both said they got to do the rematch because it was too close. All I'm gonna say is, I'm hoping that boy Tank, because he been quiet lately. Lamont, you been yapping. Talking about you should have won. You keep dwelling on that little almost close win. That boy Gervonta, that Tank, he been... We ain't never seen Tank in this mode. I will say that Lamont, you're a very skilled fighter. But you should be nervous because we ain't never seen Tank like this. He quiet. Like, he's literally hushed, bro. You just see him training. And now out of nowhere, he's like, hey, bro, we can set the fight up. That's actually dangerous. That's actually dangerous when you think about it. Like, dude ain't said a word. Even once the fight was over and pressed, he got the little hat on. He like, yeah, I mean, we could do the rematch. And he said it. I'm going to go in the gym and I'm going to train. I'm going to just be quiet and work. Good match to Lamont. I ain't going to lie. If I was Lamont, I'll be a little nervous. You ain't got to be scared, but I will be a little nervous because usually Tank, he the one that's like, yeah, don't bring your moms to the fight. Don't bring your peoples to the fight. Dude been real hush-hush lately. I'm not going to lie, y'all. They said the fight set up for August. I might have to go to this one in person. In August is my birthday month. I might have to go to this one in person, bruh. Because this right here, at this point, they're rivals now. This is like the perfect boxing story. They come from the same side of the the mat, come from the same gym and camp. I'm not gonna lie, they've been at it since they was kids. This like the perfect boxing story, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. We might have to be in there in person. But like I said, y'all already know how I go. When it come down to it, I'm putting my money on my boy Tank. Lamont, you definitely are skilled. And I'm going into this fight knowing that basically I know you gonna put up a good one. But I got my money on Tank. We ain't never seen Tank like this, bro. Dude quiet and he ain't saying nothing. The fight just got booked.
Critics have been loud, but Davis is answering with action, not words. Every move he's making now, every rep, every round is laser targeted at proving the doubters wrong. He's pushing harder, training smarter, and fine-tuning every inch of his style. This rematch isn't just about settling a score, it's about legacy. Davis wants to remind the world that he's still the king of this division. And this time, he's not just fighting for a win, he's fighting to reignite his legend.
Tank out here selling under 150,000 pay-per-views, you kidding me? Oh man, Face the Boxing, yeah, turn that shit off. Yeah, we shutting that shit down every single time. Does Shakur really want to fight Tank? I think Shakur could sell a bit more with somebody else, especially in Saudi. I feel like they can find him a dancing partner that'll do a little bit better than 150,000. Okay, I get it. This is why PBC delayed this fight for what, 5 months? Yeah, I ain't want to pay this motherfucker because y'all know he can't sell. I mean, this should have been evident. If you do the math, Tank has never been that great of a pay-per-view draw. He sold over 300K twice now in his career. He sold over 300K with Ryan Garcia. That's obvious. Ryan's the bigger star. And then he sold over 300 with Martin. He sold about 325. But when we put it in perspective, that Frank Martin fight was a comeback fight after a year layoff, so it was always going to sell. Every comeback fight's going to sell. It was one of the first pay-per-views on Amazon's new PBC deal, so they were really trying to push it. And then he had David Benavidez as the co-main event with Gary Russell and Alberto Puello under them. You take away all those factors that this wasn't a comeback fight. David Benavidez isn't the co-main event, and Amazon has now been in the game for over a year. It makes sense it only sold 150. I know there's going to be a couple of you guys in the comments. No, it sold 500K. Don't be so gullible. They didn't sell 500K. I don't know if Tank's a top. Well, I know for a fact he's not a top 5 draw in the sport of boxing anymore. Whoa. He's not selling pay-per-views. Bivol better be up just triple him. Well, Jerry, their pay-per-views are cheaper. Don't matter. All that matters is who has more eyes watching him, and Bivol better.
From inside Davis's camp, the message is clear. They don't think the game plan was broken, just poorly executed. The blueprint to beat Roach was there, but key moments lacked precision and timing. So now, they're not scrapping the strategy there, sharpening it. The focus is on cleaning up the mistakes, tightening the pressure, and executing with ruthless efficiency. They're betting that a refined version of the original approach will be all it takes to deliver a dominant state win in the rematch.
Prized by Roach and Tank. What do you think the biggest surprise was in the fight?
It wasn't a surprise because we know Roach. It wasn't a surprise. Mm-hmm. Roach can fight. A lot of people think because a person is not popular, that they don't exist. It's fighters out there that can rumble. They just got to get the opportunity, you know?
Mm-hmm. Speaking of rematches, Jalil Hackett is getting his opportunity again to fight the guy that he had a controversial loss to. It'll be happening in Florida, I think, next week?
March 15th, I think.
Let's talk about
I'm rocking a major shirt now.
Yes, sir. Tell me, how's that rematch look like, and then what's the difference makers